Welcome to Amud Yomi Shiur. We are learning. This is part of the warfare. We are fighting a war over here. We're all the war of Torah against our enemies, swords of Torah. We are in Bava Metzia. Excuse me, again, I'm making the same mistake because the previous Masechta was Bava Metzia. Can't get it out of my head. We're not in Bava Metzia. We're now in Kiddushin. Hey, Amud Aleph. Thank you very much. We are in Kiddushin, Daf Hey Amud Aleph, Amud Yomi Shiur. Welcome to everybody here in Avas Shalom in Bet Shemesh. Welcome to our viewers in Torah Anytime and on our YouTube channel. And I think we're good to go. We're good to go. And so we know that a woman is acquired, a woman's ishus is acquired to her husband in three different ways. We already found two out of the three the sources for the two out of the three kinyonim. We know why a woman is acquired through kesef, which is money, right? Because ki yikach kicha kicha, and also from the ein kesef lo dan zeh. We also know about bia ubeolo. The man should have relations with his wife, and that is not stam a regular act. It is a potential alternative way of acquiring one's wife, which, by the way, today does not apply. We're going to talk about that later. And the third way is a shtar. A man may write to his wife to be, on a shtar, on a piece of paper with different halachos, which we're not discussing right now. The shtar has to be written. The Gemara discusses later if it has to be written for her sake or not for her lishmo. That will be discussed. But the first question is, obviously, let's go. How do we know that a woman can be acquired to the man through a shtar? How do you know that that's a valid kinyan? What's the source from the Torah? And again, the Gemara is attempting to learn it through a Kal Vachomer. Says the Gemara, Bezos Hashem, V'dinu, it's a Kal Vachomer. Din many times means Kal Vachomer, it's a Kal Vachomer. Uma kesef she'en moitzi machnis. If money, ein moitzi, we established already that money is not something that can get the woman out of the marriage, out of the relationship, right? A man cannot tell his wife, take this money and harayat megureshes with this money, right? This is not a valid thing. Why? Because we said sefer krisus, only gets her out of the marriage, unless he's dead. So if kesef, which does not get her out, machnis, brings her into the relationship, into the marriage, money, we know that already, shtar shemoitzi, enodin shemachnis, a shtar that's more powerful. You see that shtar, a document, a shtar, a get, can get her out of the marriage. So all the more so, shtar can bring her into the marriage. Says the Gemara rejects the Kal Vachomer straight away, and this is going to be an interesting rejection. Ma'ale kesef, Gemara now wants to say money in another halachic area, money is stronger than shtar and works better than shtar. What is that? Ma'ale kesef, money sheken poidin bo hekdesh u'maiser sheni. Toimer shtar she'en poidin bo hekdesh u'maiser sheni. Which means, so we're going to see the source. Kesef in an area of hekdesh and maiser sheni. Let's say there's hekdesh, and a person wants to redeem that. There's an hekdesh item. Somebody was makdish, this beautiful plastic jug. Thank you, Yitzchak, for the tea. The nice plastic jug, he wants to be makdish, and he consecrated it to Beis HaMikdash, belongs to Beis HaMikdash. How can you get it out of Beis HaMikdash? You have to give the gizbar, the treasurer of Beis HaMikdash, money, and then the jug is now kedusha free, okay, and the money is now kodesh. That only works with cash, hard cash. If you do that with a shtar, it won't work. A check, you can't be paid with a check. Checks are not so popular, but let's say you want to take a check, 50,000 shekels, to be paid something of hekdesh and take away the kedusha, to exchange the kedusha, and what? Do it through shtar? Doesn't work. It doesn't work. Oh, so you see that kesef has one up. Kesef has an advantage over shtar. The same thing as maiser sheni. I don't have to explain what maiser sheni is. I believe in this group. Yeah, you're advanced enough. The person is not going to go to Yerushalayim, Yerakoidesh, with 50 tons, Baruch Hashem, of grapes. What does he do? He redeems it on money, and money only. Remember, Bov Metzia, around Daf Nun, Nun Hey. He has to take the money, real money, coins that are good and valid, and those coins get the kedusha of the maiser sheni on them. Those coins you take to Yerushalayim and you buy food with them, not all types of food either. Okay, only with money. You cannot take a check or any kind of shtar and say, okay, the money, the 50,000 shekels worth of grapes are now redeemed for the 50,000 in the shtar. It just doesn't work. Why not? Let's continue. Shenema, it says, v'nosan kesef v'kam loy. It just says in the Torah, give them money and then kam loy, and then it will be yours. It will become yours. It stands for you. It becomes kedusha free and belonging to you if you pay money, if you're dealing with money, not anything else, not even a shtar. People may ask the question, what does that have to do with the price of cheese, right? In other words, at the end of the day, we're not talking about Kiddushin. What we're trying to show here, we're trying to show that kesef is stronger than shtar. And therefore, just because shtar works for gittin and kesef doesn't, well, on the other hand, we see that kesef has an advantage, when it comes to Meiser Sheni and Hekdesh, well, shtar is in a disadvantage. It shows us one thing, that this Tosfos is nothing inside. I'm summarizing the end of the Tosfos. Basically, when things are written outright in the Torah, there are two types of Kal Vachomer. There's a Kal Vachomer of just my own logic. Moshe Rabbeinu, one of the famous Kal Vachomer, Bnei Yisrael are not listening to me, so would Paro listen to me? He's less user-friendly. And to see my Paro, he works for the BBC. So if they don't listen to me, surely Paro doesn't listen to me, right? That's just Moshe's own logic. It's not written anywhere, right? Maybe Paro will be friendly. No, it's a svara. That Kal Vachomer you can play around with. This Kal Vachomer we're doing here is a Kal Vachomer based on hard facts written in the Torah. And therefore, although Kesef Meiser Sheni versus Shtar Meiser Sheni and Hekdesh are not connected to Kiddushin, it does make a difference. We just saw that Kesef has an advantage, some advantage out there, more over Shtar. That's good enough to play a role in the Kal Vachomer, even though logically Hekdesh Meiser Sheni have nothing to do with Kiddushin. They're just playing the game. Maybe philosophically they do. I know you're going to say that. In the cold Litvish way, Hekdesh Meiser Sheni is not connected to Kiddushin and Gerushin, right? However, we just saw an advantage. We're counting points here. Scoreboard. That's all. I don't care where, what, why. In other words, we're trying to show here that shtar is more than kesef. No, kesef has an advantage in a different field written first in the Torah. In kesef, there's hekdesh redeeming of hekdesh, and in shtar it doesn't. So lamaisa, we broke the Kal Vachomer, and we still are looking now for a good, healthy, valid source. How do you know a woman is acquired with shtar? Back to square one. Answers the Gemara. Omar Kro. We have a pasuk, not exactly a pasuk, a hekesh. And this hekesh, my friends, is the hekesh that's going to, you better listen, this is a monumental moment, This is now the first time of many when we're going to see this hekesh. It says, V'yotza v'hoisa, which means, it says in the Torah, V'yotza mi beisoi, she leaves his house, the divorcee, the divorced woman, v'holcha, she goes, v'hoisa li'ishacher. She leaves the house of Reuven, and she goes and she marries who? Yisachar, whatever. She goes and marries another guy. Because the two words, v'yotza, meaning divorced, v'hoisa, getting married, are mukash, which in our scrollies is called juxtaposed, because they're written pretty close together, in this case in the same posuk, v'yotza v'hoisa, makish havaya le'yetzia. The Torah compares havaya, becoming, meaning becoming married, getting married, la yetzia. We compare Kiddushin to Gerushin. That's all. We compare Kiddushin to Gerushin. The way in is compared to the way out. And therefore, ma yetzia b'shtar, afavayanami b'shtar. And that's a conclusion, my friends. Or there's going to be a lot of stuff going on now, but I'm telling you now, this is really the end of the story. Which means yetzia, getting out, the exit and the entry are connected. Just like she exits his bailus with shtar, clearly, Sefer Krisus, so to the entry, the way in, just like the way out, is also through shtar of Kiddushin. Of course, the text is the opposite. The shtar, the way out, is then levelach Sefer Tiruchin, the gers Gerushin, you are out. And the get, the shtar of Kiddushin is inviting Haret Mukudeshes Li. But the idea that a get can work for the entry is learned from the exit through Hekesh. And as opposed to Kal Vachomer, where we prove the Kal Vachomer wrong, Hekesh cannot be proven wrong. Hekesh is written there, and we don't care who's stronger than who. There are no scoreboard now. We don't care who's stronger, who's weaker. It's just a Hekesh. It's an import-export business. Just a get, there's a shtar. So to the entry, the Kiddushin, there's also shtar. Now comes the whole story. Frek the Gemara. This is the basis, and this is also the end of the story. But there's a lot going on now. Frek the Gemara. The Akish Nami Yetzia La'avaya. Did you say import-export? So let it work both ways. If Kiddushin and Gerushin are such good friends, well, let it work the other way. Let's compare Yetzia to Havaya. In other words, let Gerushin, divorce, learn something for marriage. What would that be? Ma Havaya bekesef, af Yetzia bekesef. Oh, just like becoming a wife, entering the relationship, the marriage is done through money, and we know that already. So to Yetzia should be done with money. In other words, how do you know it's not? Maybe the husband can give her money. By the way, what I said yesterday, sometimes my examples are a little bit flowery and humoristic, and I don't really mean them specifically, and I don't know if you understood me or not. I didn't mean that Dafka gives her back she gives him back the actual ring on her finger. I think maybe by going to do that, I don't know. But what I meant to say was that she gives him money, yeah, and that's it, and then she's divorced. Yeah, look, Rashi, no, it doesn't say it over here. In other words, the havamina would be the how do you divorce the woman? Yeah, she's giving him, no, excuse me, no. She's giving him the money, and then she is, no, actually not. No. I'm wrong. He gives her the money. No. Rashi says in other places, I could forgot, it's in a different Masechta. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, he gives her the money. It's fine, no problem. He gives her money and he says, this is for your divorce. He gives her back, yeah. And he said that's for the divorce. That's a havamina. We don't do that. The Gemara is asking why not? Why won't you say that Yetzia should be with money? Give the money to the lady and say you're now divorced. Take money, get out of my sight. You're divorced now. Horet migueshes. Yeah. How do you know it doesn't work? Just you want to compare Yetzia Avaya? In other words, just like we learn from divorce to marriage to Kiddushin that a document works, the shtar, let it work the other way around too. Just like entering the Kiddushin is with money, let the Kiddushin, the Gerushin also work with money. How do you know he doesn't? That's the question of the Gemara. Let him give her money, excuse me, it's him giving her, I'm 99% sure, and should tell her, Aret Megreshes, take the money and go. And you're back to being your own boss. Yeah? Okay. Quick questions. Yeah? Story. Let me say this online to give you a compliment. This has nothing to do with ksubas. No, this is not money of the ksuba that's given. The attempt here is to say that the actual divorce itself, her changing status in a very, very significant way from becoming an Ish to becoming a free woman, is through maybe money. And the question is, why not? Answers the Gemara, two answers, Abaye and Rove. Omar Abaye, says Abaye, I'll tell you why it's not appropriate. Yomu, people in our psyche, we would think something wrong, bad. Kesef machnis, kesef moitzi. People would say, well, the kesef, the money, is what brings her into the marriage, and kesef is what takes her out of the marriage. Sanegor yasik kategor. In other words, it's not right that the sanegor, which is the good guy, the defender in the court case, yasik kategor. The defender should not become the prosecutor. In other words, it's definitely not what a Kadosh Baruch Hu had in mind, that the same act of what? Of marriage, which is a sanegor, which is something good, bringing love and closeness to the people, right? It does make sense that the same person will be a sanegor. I don't know, but usually in a court case, you have two different people. You have two lawyers, at least, yeah, or two categories of lawyers, the prosecutor and the defender. You can't have one guy being Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And therefore, it's not appropriate for the same thing, the same money, to bring her in and bring her out. The obvious question is, excuse me, well, if so, if you don't want the same thing to be used for entry and exit because it's not appropriate, then shtar nami. How come by shtar, same thing exactly, the same problem, we would encounter by shtar. Yomu, people would say, shtar moitzi, shtar machnis. The shtar that originally is written in the Torah as a way out, something that creates hate or creates separation. Shtar machnis, the same shtar would bring her into the relationship. Kategor yasis anegor, that's clearly wrong. You want the prosecutor to become the defender? That's also wrong. Where do we find the concept of en kategor yasis anegor? When you blow the ram's horn, close, yeah, you know, in the first day of the Jewish year, you blow the ram's horn. I think so. No, I've heard of such a thing once. A shofar cannot be made out of zohov, of gold. Why not? I'd like to have my shofar, yeah, plated with gold. So regal, so nice and schmaltzy, because it reminds of Baruch Hu Begel Azov, and that's not, we don't want to go there. That's a white elephant in the room. We don't talk about that in a relationship, right? Yeah, and therefore Hashem doesn't want the kategor to become senegar. It won't help us. Same thing over here. So again, the question is a question. Yeah, what do you mean? You don't want the category to be seneger the other way around too. So why are you telling me that the shtar, which is a way out, can all of a sudden bring a woman in? It's also wrong. You're using the same thing in both opposite categories as seneger. Answers the Gemara, it's not the same. Mili dehai shtar lechud, umili dehai shtar lechud. The get of the divorce and the shtar of the entry of the Kiddushin, the words written there are completely different. It's not the same shtar. It's not the same guy who's working for both parties for the defense and for the accusing. No, because in the get it says one text, you are divorced. In a marriage it says you are my wife. So it's not the same thing. Shenken by money, it's different. Frag the Gemara, why is the money different? By money, why aren't you concerned that the money, right? Yeah. Ochonami, yeah, but the money, it's the same money. No, it's not the same money. Ochonami here too. If you say that, well, by money also it's a solution. And I would also say that it's not the same category as negor. The money is also not the same. Why? Even if you give her exactly the same coin, the same ring, that he under the chuppah, he puts it back. The text that he says is different. Here, the money is accompanied by, and there is a, yeah, you're divorced. Yeah, so the text is different, right? But the money. So maybe the money is also not a problem of the same guy doing both jobs, working on both teams. Says the Gemara, and that's a maskana, tiva miyachadu. The matbea, what's minted in the coin itself, or the ring itself is the same. Yeah, or even if it's not exactly the same, money is money. The text is something exterior. Let's summarize. Again, Abai believes like that. We have, according to everybody, Abai and Rav and everybody else, we all know that a get, just like a get can divorce, can create divorce, a get too may create marriage because of Yotza v'Hoisa. And what is that? There's no problem there of en kategor nasas and eger. It's absolutely fine for the same get to work in and out because it's not the same get. It's a get, but it's not the same get. This is a document stating you're divorced, and this is a document stating you're my wife. And it's embedded, it's written in the text, right? It's like saying a book, buy me a book. Which book? Cookbook, Torah book, or encyclopedia? They're absolutely different, right? But Shenken by money, although the ceremony and everything around it are very different, and the verbiage of the chosan, but the money is the same money. So just like money, yeah, by money, we're not going to work with that. By money would say, the same money or the same kind of money, the same 10 shekels or 100 shekels, or the same ring or the same shoe, whatever it gives her, cannot be served as both way in and way out. Although the outside trappings are different, but the item is the same. You can't have the very same item serving as both way in and out. There's something intrinsically, hashkafically wrong there, says Rava, and there the hekesh of the Yotze Voisa is just not going to work. I know you have questions, but today we have Toysfest. Today's our day to do Toysfest because we have to fight the war. Better quality. Mahavai bekesef if Yotze bekesef. Upgrade. Toysfest the Bramaschal Mahavaya. This is the third Toysfest on the page. So what do we see? We see that we want to compare divorce to marriage, and how are they compared? Through shtar. Money is not compared because of enkategonasas and eger. But in the Havamina, we wanted to compare money also, right? And say just like money works on the way in, let it work on the way out, and then we're rejected. What's the third way of acquiring a woman? Bia. I don't have to explain again what bia is, right? Maybe you should say bia should work the same. Just like a bia is in the way in, bia should work in the way out. He should have relations with her for the last time, goodbye relations. Yeah, as a way out. Why making faces? No, why doesn't make sense to you? Okay. I'm reading Toysus. Mahavaya bebia afitioso bebia. Says Toysus, answer number one, because gerushin is a way to get away from her, and bia is very much to be with her. Yeah, mimela, it just doesn't make sense. As much as, yeah, we have to use our own logic, the essence of bia is closeness and not separation. The oid, another answer, much more halachic and Litvish, mishum shemotzo be'ervas dover rogi legalsho. The cause, it's not the only cause, machlokes at the end of Gittin actually, but the cause for divorce written in the Torah, and the cause for divorce when a person has to divorce his wife, whether likes it or not, is what? If she was, how do you say it in nice English? Unloyal? Okay, she was unloyal, and you all know she supports a different football team. That's what it means. She was unloyal to him, and then he's not allowed to be with her, even if he wants to. As yeshlo lifrosh, he's mechuyev to physically stay away from his wife. Could be forgave her, he loves her, he's not allowed to be with her. That's the issue with soito. And therefore, you can't, the Torah cannot demand of a man to have relations as a way out, while really he's not allowed, in many cases, he's not allowed to be with her in case she was, not a nice girl. You know what I mean? So that's Abaye. Question time or no? Yeah. Okay, I think Ellen was first actually this time. Rava gives you a different reason why really divorce would not work with money. I don't know if we lost sight over here. What we're trying to figure out is if we say v'yotze v'hoiso, meaning what? Just like the Torah, I'm repeating your questions, yeah? Just like we saw in the Torah, the divorce definitely functions through what? Document, get. So too, marriage. Why? V'yotze v'hoiso. If so, asks the Gemara, maybe money should be a way out. Just like the money brought her in, money should take her out. Let the import-export be on both ways. Rava says a different reason to Abaye. Omar Kro, because of law. Well, the Torah says, because of law, Sefer Krisus. In other words, the Torah says outright, you know how divorce is done? He should write to her a Sefer Krisus written, B'ksiva Mizgareshes, which comes to exclude what? You should only get divorced with a document, a written material. B'ksiva Mizgareshes, ve'en Mizgareshes b'kesef. That obviously comes to exclude money. In other words, Rava says, I don't have to come out to all of Abaye's more philosophical ideas that the same thing shouldn't be used twice. No, simply, maybe kesef would be a great way out to just, give her some money and tell her out of my sight. However, the Torah says almost mefurish, the Torah, we infer from the Torah, he should write to her written document for divorce, coming to exclude what? To negate what? Money. The money doesn't work. Frag the Gemara, how do you know that this is what you should infer from the pasuk? I would have written it on the whiteboard, but it's just too simple to write. Now you have to have two words in your mind. The Torah is telling you, you divorce with a document. What are we coming to exclude from there? Divorce document and divorce, not money, right? Document as opposed to money. Frag the Gemara, wait, I have another way to exclude something else. I can take these two words, divorce document, and I can learn something else from them. The Ema, let me suggest something different. Beksiva misgareshes, ve'ena miskadeshes beksiva. Maybe I can learn a different miut, a different exclusion, meaning maybe let's look at that again. Imagine yourself in front of you in the whiteboard, divorce document as opposed to marriage document. Maybe that's what the Torah is coming to negate. And maybe the Torah wants to tell me that marriage is not done with a document, exactly against our Mishnah, and that's a claim against the Mishnah. How do you know the divorce document comes to say excluding divorce money? Maybe divorce document is against what? Marriage document. Says the Gemara, no. Haksiva, yotze v'hoiso, makish. We can't say that because we have to compare divorce to marriage for something, v'yotze v'hoiso. Then that's inclusive. What do you mean? Whoa, wait a second. What are you telling me? On one hand, we have an inclusive pasuk, an inclusive hekesh, the divorce and marriage have to be compared. On the other hand, we have an exclusive pasuk, a pasuk that comes to exclude and tell me what? Divorce is through a document and divorce is not through money. How do you know? Maybe the other way around. Maybe the inclusive one is what? Maybe what you should learn from the hekesh is the what? Money. Money is good for that money is good for marriage and good for divorce. Yeah. And document is only good for get, is excluding marriage. Marriage is not good with the star. That's a question. Yeah, we have one inclusive, one exclusive. Who told you to read the map that way? Who told you, as you like to say, to pin the tail to the donkey that way? Maybe it goes the other way around. Yeah, I know there's one place to exclude, one to include. How do you know which one? Who told you? How do you know? Maybe I'll say the other way around. How do you know that get is only through document and not money? And on the other hand, marriage is also through a document. Maybe the other way around. Answers the Gemara, mistabra. It makes sense. Kai begerushin. Lamaise, let's stop playing math over here. It's just, include this word, that word. Think logically. What is the main? I'm including the Tosis without saying Tosis inside for now. What is the topic of the parsha when it says because of Sefer Krisus? Divorce or marriage? Divorce. Oh, very good. Kai begerushin, since the Torah is now standing in gerushin, since the topic at hand is gerushin, makes sense memaet gerushin. Makes sense that what it's coming to exclude is another form of gerushin. The Torah is coming to talk now about gerushin. That's a close, focused idea right now. Coming to exclude only what? You can only write a divorce document, excluding money. Kai begerushin memaet kiddushin? Rhetorical question. You are in Gerushin. You want to tell me we're coming to exclude Kiddushin? Doesn't make sense. No. In other words, Gerushin, first, Aniyah Yerchakoidmim, charity begins at home. When the Torah talks about Gerushin being a document, probably it's coming to tell me Gerushin, document, as opposed to Gerushin, money. It's not talking about Kiddushin right now. We don't know what happens with Kiddushin. Then you have the Hekesh Be'otza V'hoisa to tell me just the Gerushin works for the document, so is Kiddushin. Again, we see all this page is very interesting. We see how sometimes we use the cold facts of the Torah, and how sometimes you have to use human common sense. Here we use human common sense. It makes sense that when the Torah is talking about Gerushin, it's coming to talk about the wish list of yes, no, Gerushin with a document without a money. It's not coming to talk immediately about Kiddushin. Kiddushin is in the corner. We don't know what to do with Kiddushin. Voila. We have Yotze V'hoisa to tell me just a divorce document, there's marriage document. I summarized Tosis and I embedded it into the words. This Tosis we don't have to see inside, and we can continue. Questions? Let's see Tosis before we continue. There's look at Tosis Senegar Yasikategar. I don't know if we'll go through the whole thing. Tosis asks the following question: what did we see? En Kategar Nasa Senegar and vice versa. In other words, when money is given for the way in, it should not be given for the way out. Because Abai learns that ashkafically there's something very wrong with the same item being used both ways. Like, which side are you on? You can't work for both parties. If so, אם כן, הכי כאומר מה לעם העברי שקניותו בכסף? ודין שתניקנס בכסף, right? We said an Amma Ivriya, right? We say goes out with money, and therefore makes sense that she should be acquired with money too. Yeah, an Amma Ivriya goes out with money, goes in with money, and it's an advantage. Why? You see, money of an Amma Ivriya brings their own both way in and out, and that's like a plus for the Amma Ivriya. We wanted to learn from her, to say Amma Ivriya is stronger than the Yavama and the other ones. Doctor says, Adrabah, on the contrary, Griusa, then Kategar Nasa Senegar. The fact that Amma Ivriya has the same money coming in, he bought her with money, and he releases her with money, that Lechor is not an advantage. We see that the fact that the same item is used twice, if we can avoid it, we do, such as we don't divorce with money. And with the Amma Ivriya, why is that such an advantage that the same money is used in the way out? What's the answer? Yishloimar, business is business and marriage is marriage. That's the answer. The Amma Ivriya, Tesis Rosh, by the way, phrases the question much more easily. You can say the svara of buying an Amma and releasing an Amma and Kategonas. Why not? Why not? Lefi, it's not marriage. No, but it's the same. You see that the same thing goes in and out. Lefi, and we do compare her to a woman. That's a problem. Obviously, how did she get in? It's business. The father who sold her got money from the other, and the father has to feed his family. Misken, yeah. So the father got money in order to sell her. Makes sense. When he wants to redeem her, what's a logical thing to do? He has the money now, wants to redeem his daughter back to come back home. Makes sense that the master should get the money. I shouldn't say it's an item, but the girl is being sold and being sold back. It's all about money. That's not kategar sanegar. It's business. Aval isha mekadesh isha, a man that's mekadesh a woman, hakol bal yodoy. Everything is in his hands, right? In other words, there's a give and take in business. There's a buyer and a seller that are both active, right? The father sold. Now the master gives back the money to sell her back, to give her back. By Kiddushin, it's not like that. Everything happens by the man. Everything is dependent on the man. Ben Kiddushin, ben Gerushin. When the man is the one who does both, remember I corrected myself before, the man gives the money, and the man gives the money by Gerushin too. He doesn't take the money, right? She's not giving her back the money, I'm buying myself back. That was my mistake before. In other words, by Gerushin and Kiddushin, the man gives money to get married and gives money to get divorced, to divorce her. There's something intrinsically wrong. because you see, it's mamish the same act of him giving her something to change status from A to B, then again giving money from B to A. That doesn't shmek nice. That is wrong because we see that it's mamish the same act, just the opposite, the mirror image of coming into marriage and him bringing her out of the marriage without her will even. Such a case, that's en kategon asas and eger, and it's not going to work right. Okay. The Gemara now says the following. According to Rove, what was the source for the fact that you cannot divorce with money? It says because of lo sefer krisus, right? Very nice. Because of you write to her, you don't give her money. Money is not an option for the way out. Asks the Gemara. Rabbi Yosef Glili, there's a Tana called Rabbi Yosef Glili, and his opinion is different. What does he say? Rabbi Yosef Glili, the apik lehai kro ledosho achrina. Rabbi Yosef Glili apik, he took out that dosho, that pasuk of the cost of law to learn something else from that. Rashi doesn't tell us what. It's a Gemara in Gittin. And the Gemara says Rabbi Yosef Glili learns from the words the cost of law a different halacha, right? If so, she'enim is gereshes bekesef minale. According to Yurova, the cost of law is coming to tell me writing as opposed to money. But if Rabbi Yosef Glili uses the pasuk for cost of law for something else, and we don't care what right now, then how does Rabbi Yosef Glili know to exclude money? According to Rava, how does Rabbi Yosef Glili know? Yeah, the exclusion of money, because he uses that for something else. In the musical chair, the chair is taken. There's a different source, and that, by the way, is the source which is going to stay also. Sefer krisus, as we already said in Daf Gimel Amud Beis, the Torah says the cost of law, and later it says, what does he write to her? A novel. He writes to her Sefer krisus. He writes to her a book, which is really a document. What's krisus? Of severing, a book that severs her from him, and that is coming to teach me Sefer koilso, the end dover acher koilso. The Sefer is the thing that severs her, that removes her from him, and nothing else does, excluding money. Very good. Sefer is the one that separates them, as opposed to anything else except for death, until death does us part. Yeah, except for death, nothing in the world can separate them except for get no money, no love, no money, no nothing. Frag the Gemara now starts a ping pong. The Rabbanon, hi Christus my Avdile. According to Rabbanon, they learn. Yeah, excuse me, the people are in chat. I'll deal with you later. The Rabbanon, hi Christus my Avdile. Rabbanon who say what? They use the pasuk because of law to tell me something else. Now, krisus, what do they do with the word krisus? Right? Right? Rabbi Yossi learns from the word krisus, excluding money. But they learn you exclude money from where? From the cost of, not from sefer krisus. So according to Rabbanan, the word sefer krisus are open, are vacant job, vacancy. What do you do with the words krisus? Because what he learns from krisus, you learn from something else. You have an empty chair. It's not good. What do you do with the words sefer krisus? Answers the Gemara, you learn something else. From sefer krisus, we learn something else. A detail in get. Ledover hakoires beino lebeina. Sefer krisus, lichrot, is a very, very strong Hebrew word for cutting off. Like to behead, lo leinu machshemam zichronam, is lichrot rosh. Kores, everyone's scared of kores. Complete, severing from the source. So the get has to be something that completely severs the woman from the man without any strings attached. And that is what we learn from the word krisus. What exactly does it mean, no strings attached, Rabbi? Kedetanya, it says in the Brisa. Let's say a man wants to divorce her, but unfortunately, as many men do, he's playing games with her. This is sadly not science fiction. A man tells his wife like this: he's a non-beloved wife about to be divorced. The guy says, listen, you want the get? You'll get the get on condition that you will never, ever in your life go drink wine. I don't like your drinking habits. I don't want you to enjoy wine. And in condition, you'll never, ever go back to your father's house. Yeah, to your parents' house. Yeah, sadistic. So he says, I'm giving you the get on condition that you should never, ever, ever be able. In other words, if in 10, 15 years' time, 20 years' time, you'll go visit your parents' house, the get is retroactively annulled, invalid. Ein ze krisus. This get is not a good get. You cannot do that. Beis Din will not endorse that. And the get is not a get at all. Even if she never ever goes to her parents' house, and never ever drink wine, she becomes a teetotal, still the get will never work. Why? Well, that's why. Because krisus means stopping her in a way that she's just removed from him. But if her entire life she's attached to him, why doesn't she drink wine till the age of 80? Not because the doctor told her, because she doesn't drink wine in order to make the get valid. So she is still connected to her ex. The ex is not really an ex in a way. That's what the Torah comes to tell me. Krisis, the krisis has to be sharp, clear-cut cutoff point. What happens in the following case? Kol shloshim yoim. For 30 days, I don't know, it'd be more than 30, but less than forever, it's a set period of time, and the husband says, I'm giving you a get on condition that you're not going back to daddy's house, you're not drinking wine, and not going to Disney World, whatever, for 30 days. Areza krisus, that is krisus. Why? Because it's not forever. For a month, she's connected to him, or maybe 2 months, or maybe a year. I don't know exactly the halacha here, but there's a set amount of time where she still has the after effect of the marriage and the divorce. She's not allowed to drink wine for a month in order to make the get valid. Once the month is over, she's going to have a nice party with wine and with her parents and all good. And that is called krisus. And how do you know all that? Well, you know that from word krisus. According to Rabbanan, that's how they fill in the gap, the space of the word krisus, to teach me krisus, that the get has to be something that severs her completely, not something in which she's attached for life. Rabbi Yossi Glili, the ping pong continues. Rabbi Yossi Glili, how does he know that halacha? Rabbi Yossi Glili used the pesukim krisus to tell me what? To tell me krisus as opposed to money, right? If so, how does he know the halacha that she's not supposed to be attached for him for life? And says the Gemara, mikores krisus kanafkale. If you noticed, I keep telling krisus, and I quickly translate that into English. But if you really, really look into the word krisus, it's in plural, like severing in plural. Yeah, krisus doesn't say koret. Krisus. Yeah, two. Yeah. So it's kilo. The Torah says twice. Kores. One chorus comes and tells me what? Only the sefer cuts her off and not the money. And the second chorus of the krisus comes to tell me that it has to be a clear cut, clean cut, without any strings attached. So we learned from the krisus, double sword edge, both you're learning two halachos. Rabbanon. Rabbanon, what would they do? The extra plural of the krisus. Chorus krisus loy mashmalahu. Wow. Rabbanon say no. As much as we know that the Torah is, every word is meduyak, in the realm of pshat of halacha, the fact that the Torah wrote krisus in plural doesn't faze us. We don't have to learn something from loy mashmalahu. They don't believe that this is coming to teach me something significant. I'm sure in Hashkof and Halacha, in Soid, whatever, the names of Hashem is the Torah. I'm sure there's a reason. But in the realm of Halacha, we're not exactly falling off our chairs that the word chorus is used in plural. We don't have to learn a Halacha from there. We don't view that as an empty chair, as a vacancy, and therefore it's okay. So now let's again summarize. What did we see now? So everybody agrees to the Halacha. The question is only what you learn from what, right? What's the source? But everyone agrees that A, according to Rava, money doesn't do the trick, right? In other words, he cannot give her money and say, you are now the Megoreshes. Why? Either because the cost of law, Sefer Krisus, either because of the cost of law, writing as opposed to money, or, according to Rabbi Glili, Sefer Krisus, a document as opposed to money. But they both agree, just different places. The other halacha, which happens to come here tangentially, is that a get has to be something that cuts her off clearly and quickly, either right away or after a month. There could be conditions that have a very clear time limitation. But if he says your entire life you have to fulfill a condition in order to make the get work retroactively, that's not a get. Mister, we don't go for this nonsense. And she cannot be attached to your entire life because that's not krisus. And both believe that, either from Kores, according to Rabbanan, or from krisus, according to Rabbi Yossi Glili. Baruch Hashem. Now the Gemara is going to make, in a way, a summary with an addition of what we've seen so far. So Baruch Hashem, we all have to jump with joy, because now we have what? We have sources for all three kinyonim. Mazel tov. We know the sources of kesef, shtar, ubiyah. I'm just going to look at the chat because somebody may have a question here for me. Okay, somebody has this question. If they live in New York and he wants to move to Israel and she doesn't, he can give her a get. It doesn't have to give her money to leave the marriage. Again, you are right and you're confusing. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know about the New York business. Also, to live in Lakewood. Yeah. Okay. Because I'm very flattered to get a chat in the middle of the thing, so I'll tell you as follows. Somebody, I'm not sure, maybe Daniel, is writing to me here something which is true, but I'm sorry to say not related. It's true that the man lives in Chutz Laaretz, New York, Los Angeles, Paris, Tokyo, or Johannesburg, and he wants to move to Eretz Yisrael, and she doesn't want to move to Eretz Yisrael. She says, no, you're a Kodesh, she's wherever, Durban. So then what? So then he can move to Eretz Yisrael, and the divorce. Let's say, I mean, they shouldn't divorce. They should reconcile. I don't know. Maybe move halfway to Eretz Yisrael. I'm joking. Yeah, to move to Tanzania. I'm joking. To move to Gibraltar. No. So if the key really can't resolve the Zionist problem, the Jewish problem, so then what? So then Enochinami, he should move to Eretz Yisrael after divorce, and she stays in Durban. And what you meant to say is that he doesn't give her ksuba. That's what it means. Because she's the one who's not interested in Dvar Mitzvah, she doesn't get ksuba. It has nothing to do with our sugya. We're not talking here about money of ksuba. We're talking here about money given as divorce, and that's not the halacha. It's just the havamina. The money of the ksuba is not part of the sugya. The sugya is discussing now how do you divorce, through shtar or potentially also through money, and the answer is loud and clear: no. Money cannot be given as divorce. Ksuba is given after the divorce. After she's divorced, she takes out the ksuba and say, 20 years ago when we were young and pretty and you really loved me, you gave me the ksuba that in case of divorce, I get $5 million. Give me $5 million. And she gets the $5 million. If she's the one who refused to move to Eretz Yisrael, she doesn't. By the way, any egalitarian people around, the same work with the other gender, which means if she's the one who says, darling, let's make aliyah, some people, 25 families made aliyah. Yeah, I read in the paper and somebody else told me, I know personally 2 people, one coming back and one doing aliyah. Dafka, when they go and get stuff, they make aliyah, and the wife says, I want to make aliyah to Sderot. And the husband doesn't want. So then when he wants to stay in wherever in Chicago, then what? Then it's the other way around. Then she gets a ksuba. They get divorced and she goes to Eretz Yisrael. She does get the ksuba, but she's a good girl. She's the one who's pro Eretz Yisrael. It's really unrelated, this whole Maisa. Just because I got the question, that's why I'm going very tangential over here. Okay, Daniel, thank you for your question. And I'm very happy to see you with us in Eretz Yisrael and in Zoom. Okay, this last session of questions for today, and then we'll continue. Good. Now that we all know the sources of all 3 things, I'll quickly summarize it for those of us who are online right now or later. So again, the source of Kiddushi Kesef is Ki Kachishisha, Kicha Kicha from Ephron, Shtar, the Yotzav Hoiso from get divorce to marriage, and Be'ila, Ki Kachishisha U Be'olo. If Be'ila is done with the purpose of Kinyan, then this Be'ila is Kinyan Kiddushin. Frek the Gemara. Now, Chada Michada Loy Asya, which means we had all kinds of attempts to learn through Kal Vachomer. We always try to be miserly on the pesukim in the previous Amud, and we say, why do you need to learn Kesef? Why do you need a special pasuk for Kesef? You could learn it from somewhere else. Why do you need a pasuk for Bia? You can learn it from Yavama, V'chule, right? So one on one, we always had the third party, right? We had the 3 cases, Yavama, Amma, and a regular woman. And the third one always, destroyed the harmony, and the Kal Vachomer was destroyed, and we needed the posuk. When I fact the Gemara, Teisi Chada Mitarti. Why can't we now use the triangle, not of Yavom and Amma, the triangle of Kesef Shtar Ubia? The Kesef Shtar Ubia outside Eishes Ish, the all good kinyonim. Kesef is used for many things, right? Kesef is used for karkos and avodim. Shtar is used for karkos and avodim, and Bia is used for Yavomo. Maybe if the Torah would have only written 2 out of the 3, we would have already learned the third one automatically. Yes, in other words, if Kesef and Shtar, let's say, work for a lot of other kinyonim, other items, Kesef, Shtar, and also for women, I would know that Bia automatically, the Binyan Av, the Mematzinu. Yeah, if Kinyan A and Kinyan B work, let Kinyan C also work. That's a Havamina. If you don't understand, let's see. Fact the Gemara, hi Tasi. Okay, let's start throwing the dice in 3 different directions. Which one do you suggest the Torah could have given up on and not written, and we could have just inferred from the other 2? Which one? Let's say the following: Lo lichtav rachmana b'shtar. Let the Torah not write shtar or the hekesh of shtar. The teisi mehanach, and I would know like this: Kesef and Bia, they work by women. Yes. They work by other things. Yes. Star works by other things. That's an X and Y in the formula. Oh, so also star also is coined by a woman. If kesef and bia, which are valid kinyonim by other places, work by women. So women can be koine. You just have to do kinyon. So maybe star, which is a very valid common kinyon, should also work by her without writing star outright. Says the Gemara, no, we could have broken that comparison very easily. No, there's a difference. Kesef and shtar, there's a lot of enjoyment for both kesef and bia, excuse me. Shtar, there's no enjoyment. She's getting a shtar. It's a cold piece of paper, right? It's not worth anything. It's not a check. She's not getting money. The shtar can be ugly, used A4 paper that your child scribbled on, nothing exciting about it. She gets it and it's written there in sloppy handwriting, you're my wife. She's not enjoying the actual star. Maybe she enjoys the guy. As opposed to kesef and bia that are fun, there are no enjoyment. So maybe you can't automatically derive without any drosha, you can't by logic derive the shtar from kesef and bia because they share an advantage that shtar does not share that advantage. That's why shtar has to be written. Throw the dice again. Lo nichtav rachmana bebia b'teisi mehanach. Omit bia. Don't try to beolo. And I would learn from the other two. Shtar and kesef are kinyonim. Bia is also kinyan be'evoma. Just like shtar and kesef work, bia also works. Says the Gemara, that ideal comparison is broken easily. Ma'alehanach shekin kinyonim merube is supposed to be how many things can be bought through bia? One, yevoma. Before we know about Kiddushin. Kesef and shtar, many things. Kesef and shtar, karka, avodim, things, right? Of course, shtar can be coined other things as well, debts, the chule. They are very, very common. Kesef and shtar, you learned the bovis, they're all over the place. It's supposed to be, which is very, very rare. So therefore, how can you compare those master of kinyan to little dingy minji bia, which hardly ever works? You can't automatically know that a woman is nicknamed bia. They are real kinyanim. Bia is once. Frag the Gemara, throw the dice. So we have to write bia. Okay, third. Lo nichtav rachmana bekesef v'teisi mehanach. Leave kesef out the window. Don't write to me ikach Avram Avinu instead, right? And just write to me bia and shtar, and I'd automatically know that kesef, which is the third kinyan, a very good one, also works by a woman. Says the Gemara, no. Kesef is different to the others because the other ones work against a person's will. Why? Because bia is koinen yavama even if the yavama doesn't want, right? And shtar also is koinen the woman to herself against her will. Before Chem the Rabbeinu Gershom, shtar was something get. A man can give a get to his wife, and she's not interested. She says, honey, there's hope. Let's go to the 5,000 meeting by the psychologist, by the marriage counselor. I think we can do it. The husband says, I did enough. He puts the get in her hand and gomarnu. Yeah. So we see that bia and shtar work against other people's will, and kesef whenever so works against anyone's will. Right? You buy kesef between people, men, women. Yeah. What do you buy with kesef? Land, avodim. According to Rabbi Yochanan Shlakish, could be doraisa. Yeah, but totally and possibly sometimes. Yeah. That has to be an agreement. The two people agree, and therefore kesef has kilu one disadvantage that it's not as powerful as kesef as shtar ubia. The work also bal kochem. Shows are more powerful. They work against someone. Kesef doesn't work against anybody, and therefore kesef cannot be learned from them. 1 second. The chi tema frag digmar. Wait, kesef nabi bal kocho the ama ivriya. Excuse me, ama ivriya is sold with money, and she does not want necessarily. And ama ivriya is a little girl, and we trust the father to know better than the girl. And even if the girl says, I don't want to be sold as an ama ivriya, we still sell her. So we see that kesef sometimes does work in what way? Works against the person's will. And says the Gemara, no, we're not talking about kinyonim anywhere. The ishus mi aloy ashkechan. Don't forget, the kinyonim we're discussing kinyonim of ishus. In other words, the kinyonim of Baal Korcho, of get, is where divorcing a woman to do with issues, right? Issues, yeah. She's not an eshes ish. What did we see by Bia? Yevama. Yevama becomes his wife, Baal Korcho, with Bia. Masha'enken, when it comes to money, we never saw money working against anyone's will in the realm of issues. And Ama Ivriya is not issues. I'm sorry to blow your bubble again and again, but Ama Ivriya is not issues. Even as a potential yud, we view it right now that she's just sold as an ama. Do the dishes, milky ones, meaty ones. You have to do the spanja, change the nappies. That's what you have to do. The diapers, yeah, nothing to do with the issues. So although it's balkocho, it's not in our game. It's not in our realm of sugya now because we're talking about issues. But issues we found only kesef. Excuse me, only shtar and br balkocho. Kesef is not balkocho, and therefore we say that you cannot learn kesef from them. Question time. First of all, I'd like to give a bracha of thank you very much to all of you. We did a dot with Tosfos and Amud, and thank you to everybody who watched us, everyone on Zoom, everyone here, everyone in Torah anytime, and in YouTube. And question time again. You can also email me questions during the day if you wish to my email, akiva1971@gmail.com. And we have a question here coming from South Africa. Yeah.